GoldenFox! No! Get away! Get away! I'm not good enough.
You're not good enough.
They'll never forgive me.
They'll never forgive you.
A while has gone by. The moment is perfect. Not a moment to waste. It's time I run the show now.
So I said before that I would go back to reviewing Season 5, and what better episode to bounce off to is none other than Scaremaster as Nightmare Night is around the corner. Scaremaster was written once again by Natasha Levinger, who is known for both Pinky Apple Pie and Make New Friends But Keep Discord, the two of which I personally adored and are still my favorite in the series. However, while Scaremaster is an episode I enjoyed, there are some things I didn't like. For instance, I didn't like that Granny Smith was scaring Fluttershy despite that she's aware Fluttershy stays in her cottage on Nightmare Night. Dash was also unlikable and inconsiderate even if the episode was aware of her attitude. But the absolute worst was Angel Bunny. As Fluttershy prepares her hideout when the episode begins, he makes this look on his face demanding for carrots since his bowl is empty. This means that Fluttershy has to go out and get some more for his inconvenience, despite the fact that everyone and him knows of her circumstances. I've said many times in the past of how much of a shitbag he is, but he is literally the driving force as to why Fluttershy goes out there the whole time. I swear that little rabbit does nothing but bring my fucking blood to a boil, to where anything that happens to him I have no sympathy for. That little turd bag couldn't have just lived one night without carrots? I mean, it's not like he's gonna starve to death one night. Fluttershy's insecurities are more important here, you little brat. Ugh! Ugh, Jesus. Ugh. I feel so lightheaded. I think I need some water. Ugh.
It feels good to finally take control. Goldie Boy didn't see it coming thanks to his own negligence. Now I run the show. Greetings everyone, welcome to my now obtained domain, for I am Crimson Fang. Oh, and don't worry about Goldie Boy. He's having his little nappy time. He'll be back eventually. Until then, we have plenty of things to cover for this episode, being Scaremaster. Not to get mixed up with the atrocious Season 1 episode Staremaster. Coincidentally though, they're both centered on Fluttershy. But Scaremaster does a better job on the scare tactic and keeping focus on the subject matter at hoof. But let's not stall around any longer. Let me first address what Golden was talking about, Angel Bunny. Yes, his spoiled behavior is what led Fluttershy into having to leave her cottage. But as we're in the episode, this brings the question, when has Fluttershy ever given the chance of a holiday being Nightmare Night? With the regard of what Granny Smith was doing, she was only enjoying the holiday. Inconsiderate? Yes. But how does that make Pinkie Pie and Looney Eclipse any different? As I may recall, Golden was willing to defend Pinkie in that episode for the same reason. And as for Rainbow Dash, when is she never a jerk? Sure, she's been supportive on occasion, but most people fail to realize the fact that it's been a trait of hers throughout the entirety of the show. But getting back to the meat of the subject matter, Fluttershy was willing to give a chance of a holiday she's never tried before, going through the trials and errors of the said holiday, which is a thanks to Angel Bunny. He shouldn't be looked down on over carrots. Yes, he's been problematic during the previous seasons, but I'm willing to let this one be an exception. Fluttershy has been shown to be a pushover, like a certain orange stallion who complains too much over his petty reasons that he needs to get over. And many say that Fluttershy learns the same lesson over and over and it's been the same character. And this very argument has even been used in this episode from time to time. Yeah, because she totally didn't stand up to a dragon, the Lord of Chaos, twice, assertively encourage a separate realm of existence to move on and not take all kinds of hospitality for granted, and given a harsh reality check to Rainbow Dash when she was in denial about Tank's circumstances. And, if I may argue, if she was really in the state of what she was in Season 1, as many claim she was, she would have never given Holiday a chance, period. Rest assure you. Her traits, however, are still there, as we see her first attempt at a scare tactic, a tea party, where she shows her true colors of serving other unexpected guests, and when the slightest bit of a mistake happens and you fear and disappointed them. To many, this is considered a petty reason. Gee, does that not sound familiar? But when you look at the big picture, it is something legit for some people, but it's not in the same fashion as it is with general fears such as spooky monsters, ghosts, and other common traits. Her tactic was in a different context that didn't match the Holiday's traditional elements. It's a nice trial and error of her ways, even if the scenario was a bit overstated to its welcome. Not as unbearable as the Cloudstone Anthem in Equestrian Games, the CMC's talent performance in the Showstoppers, or Rainbow Dash's impersonation of her friends in Newbie Dash, an episode that Golden will have to review one day. Keep that noted, folks. But regardless, we see what she learns in this episode from her misunderstanding, and once again is helped by Angel. He helps her get a better understanding with the festivities by a second stunt to perform in the final act, which if you ask both me and Golden, it's a very cleverly done scene. What brings us in the third act is a huge maze filled with scared prompts and other materials to set up a playful horror for all the visitors who enter. On the surface, it's what most viewers would see it as, a typical Halloween celebration and having fun. Of course, I should mention, throughout the series we've had a decent amount of Halloween horror-based episodes. Luna Eclipse, Sleepless of Ponyville, Castlemania, Bats, 28 Pranks Later, and of course, what we have now. Each of them have provided a wonderful atmosphere that proves that the show is more than just a typical bright and happy color scheme. It shows that the staff is more than willing to step out of their boundaries for their kiddies who watch and enjoy the show. This episode is of course no exception, as Fluttershy's scare tactics are played out beautifully. The main six are trapped in a cave where they are led to a cliff as Fluttershy finishes off her act. And here, it's where she finally understands what it means to celebrate the holiday. She understands the appeal, she understands the atmosphere, and she still states that this isn't her cup of tea. On the surface, it sounds anticlimactic, but it's fully established that Fluttershy has given the chance of experiencing Nightmare Night, and has made the conclusion of her very own and the most legitimate reason of not liking it compared to the usual scaredy cat shtick. This whole episode is about giving a closer look than what meets the eye, just like how this show is what is more than what meets the eye. And the genius behind it is that it allows the viewer to understand the perspective of what turns Fluttershy away, and her to understand the true meaning of Nightmare Night as much as the audience. And based on giving something of a chance and deciding your full judgment, it's a message that even the young should learn. And if that set activity isn't for you, then it is fully settled. It's just as important to respect others who have a different taste in something, but the willingness to give something a chance is what earns that respect. So the next time you look at an episode where someone is acting like a jerk, think about the rest of the picture first before you make your final judgment, and don't be as foolish as GoldenFox is, depending on only the sake of kindness and expecting a calmer welcome.
That's enough! Give back my body!
Well, Goldie, it seems you finally met me after all these years.
Years? What are you talking about? I never met you before!
Exactly. We weren't so far apart the last time I was present. I was just venoming you.
What?
You said yourself you wanted to be a vampire bat pony. It was exciting when you got the chance, wasn't it? Before you changed back to your normal self.
How is that possible? Venom can't last that long!
Apparently so, because I was inside you the whole time. Harmless. And so alone. But ever since you were changed into a new form recently, you've given me new life inside. And I've been watching you. I've looked through your memories, and I've studied your criteria. You are such a pitiful stallion who's wrapped up in his own ways. You claim that you're willing to move on. You claim that you're willing to accept what the show has to offer. And yet, you're still in the mindset and acting like a petulant child when things don't go your way.
I just express how I feel, okay?
And that's why you fail. You rely too much on your emotions instead of accepting and adapting the facts, and wanting others to comfort you. How can you call yourself a critic that can be trusted and yet you can't even trust yourself?
You let me worry about how I handle my criteria. I may be flawed, but I'm not that reckless.
Says the one who made his own Tanipus. You nearly destroyed yourself. So who's the real enemy here?
Shut the fuck up! That was an accident! That was someone else's fault for that mess!
And you're doing such a good job handling this yourself now. You had your tall mare do the job for you. You really ought to consider yourself lucky. Oh, do I love pushing your buttons. Face it, Golden. I'm everything you wish I was. You really gotta step down now before you hurt yourself any further.
No, this is my channel. And this was supposed to be my review.
Oh, really? What were you gonna say? More about Angel Bunny? Glossing over other information like what you did on Meltdown with Spike's breakout? Oh yeah, you were called out on by your viewers, and it made you mad. It made you inferior. I simply did you a favor. Everything I said, you weren't gonna tackle on, and it was gonna be sloppy on your end.
Then let me learn from my mistakes, and you do your own reviews.
There can only be one of us. But if you want to convince me, consider this. I'll watch you over time. By then, I shall decide your fate.
Fate? What fate?
Don't disappoint me, Goldie.
I feel so sore. That had to have been a nightmare. There's no way something like that could sit for that long. Have I really got myself this low? Or is this all just fears in my head? I have bigger things to worry about. I have to figure out the mystery behind this diamond on my head. I've been sitting around too long. Until next time, I'll see you later.
That's right, Golden. Keep thinking to yourself that this was all a bad dream. Big mistake. You had it easy now, but when I return, the results shall be different. A new challenge awaits, and my purpose of showing your true colors will be fulfilled. See you then, pretty boy.